Guess what? It's the caddies at Bushwood. What? So you walk away the second we start the show?
That's faith. That's faith in the broadcast right there. The bootleg radio. Sakib's like, I want nothing to do with this, and he's walking
out. So it's like we start the show and you just like leave.
That's it.
Zero faith in the two of us to be able to do a show on our own.
I don't blame him.
What?
Look, Jason obviously not here. He's out sick. The hardest working man in show business deserves a day off.
True.
Okay?
No doubt.
I think we can all agree on that. But it's also clear, John, that much like the stock of a Fortune 500, when the CEO leaves, right, the value of the stock plummets, and Sakib just showed us step one. That he doesn't trust. He's not investing in our stock, John. I think that needs to be said.
Whatever happened to The Secret of My Success? You remember that movie?
That's way before my time.
I don't think anybody remembers.
Way before my time.
Seriously?
I don't think anybody remembers that one, John.
I do.
Well, I was almost going to say it, and I'm not going. No, I'm not going to do it. No. I get it. I understand, but I'm just saying that we have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
One bit of stock that is currently not doing all that well is Man City. After this weekend, we talked about how sell, Mortimer, sell.
Get back in there.
That's right. Turn the machines back on. Man City now down in fourth place after. I will say, every time Liverpool got the ball, I thought, "Oh my God, they're going to score again." It was that
good,
dominant of a performance. You can't get around it. I mean, it was something where from minute one, it looked like Man City just did not have answers for Liverpool. And for the record, I am not a Liverpool fan. And let me do it for radio effect. I am not a Liverpool fan. Slap the table.
Yeah.
But when at the Salah goal at the 13th minute, I was like, oh my God, they're going to run away with this thing. I thought it was going to get really ugly.
Yeah.
And I think if it was anybody outside of Man City, that you're probably looking at one of those like 5-0 score lines where essentially the other team decides, hey, look, we're just going to hang back and, keep possession. And it's a possession drill, boys. Just have fun. But to me, that the back line for Man City got burned not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And it just turned into an absolute nightmare.
So it was a nightmare for you, but not for most. For some, I should say.
Well, it's a nightmare as if someone who enjoys defense and has a distinct level of sympathy
defense
for the defenders of the world. I will say that I felt bad for the City defenders.
Oh, there was some,
but they don't have any.
There was some good defense on the other side of the pitch.
Okay, well, there was some good. Sure, right. Liverpool did their job, and that's the difference. Is that when Liverpool got the ball, it was everybody forward, and when they lost the ball, it was everybody back, and it was a total team effort. And you saw that whenever whenever Man City lost the ball, that people were stopping. People were looking at the officials. They were looking at the refs. They were looking anywhere but taking action. And I think that was the difference in the game. It just kind of got to me.
Yeah.
Man City deserved to lose the game. If you lose possession and your first reaction is, I'm just going to stand there and watch what happens.
That's not a good reaction.
No, you deserve to lose.
Yeah.
So we can talk about how Pep Guardiola is the greatest genius to ever descend from the heavens upon the game of football, but at the same time, you can't tell me that Man City was up for this whenever they would lose possession and somebody, it's just like, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to let them run. Somebody else will get it. Oh, wait, what do you mean? They're crossing? Oh, wait, somebody else is getting up. Oh, it's another goal. My God in heaven, how did this happen? Well, it starts with lax defending. Man City just didn't have it. And now you're going to have a Herculean effort from them to get the job done. You're going to have Liverpool do something like I don't know, sniff paint thinners.
But the word that I came up with was Girardian.
Don't you? That used to be a positive thing, you know.
Now look, this is what's happening right now. You guys aren't here, so you're missing this. Is that Sakib's about to throw us out? He's motioning for security to come escort
he's
John.
motioning to throw me out.
Yeah. So it may be a one-person show. Sakib's going to jump on it. It'll become the Liverpool show.
It's a Liverpool show.
But guys, I mean, really. What has to happen here for Liverpool to screw this up?
Yeah, what has to happen for Liverpool to screw this up?
And project so they can hear you into the camera.
We have done this screw-up job for years, let's be honest. Not always our fault. Sometimes with a lot of heartbreak. It would take a lot of injuries. Knock on wood. I hope it doesn't happen, but if we lost Van Dijk, it's a big hit.
Right.
I think with either Salah or Mane out, we can.
What are you doing?
Hold on. I got my phone out. I'm actually typing in 34 minus 26. That's 8 points.
That's 3 wins.
They're 8 points clear right now. 8 points, according to my trusty.
Well, I could have told you that. I memorized it.
You know, well, yeah, but I had to physically do the math.
We could even handle an injury to either Mane or Salah.
Yeah,
because of your depth.
Yeah, with Ox stepping up, that's incredible what he's doing. He's on a tear as of late, finally finding his form back. Players that would really impact us. Alisson went out game 1, and we really didn't miss a beat. Adrian was a little squirrely at the back, but he's shown that he can do it with our back line ahead of him. Mm-hmm. Losing Fabinho would be a killer blow.
Yeah.
Losing Van Dijk would be a killer blow. And I think either Trent or Robbo.
Right. I think at this point in the season, for Man City, it's Champions League or bust.
It's going to be bust.
But I'm going to throw something out there. And I have to say, Pep's body language. And I know it's coming off a loss. He doesn't like losing, blah, blah, blah. But the snarky, thank you so much to the refs. That whole snarky outburst toward the end of the game, it was very reminiscent of me toward the darker days of Barcelona when he went and he took the sabbatical. Just because it just looked like he was mentally spent. It looked like he was just exasperated, that he really had no answers. Not that Liverpool was so amazing and fantastic and extraordinarily well coached, and they were very well coached for this game, but it just looked like he was devoid of passion, you know, like that. There's a difference between anger and passion, right? There's that kind of empty expression of anger, and I feel like snarky Pep is Pep on his way out the door. And if he wins Champions League, we were talking about this pre-show, absolutely I think he's gone. But this has to be closer to the end of his tenure at Man City than it is at the beginning, for sure, right?
Doesn't he? I mean, he seems, I don't know if mentally spent or out of answers. I don't know what the right phraseology is here for Pep right now, because for someone who is right now a stifled genius, which is what he looks like, because he can't do anything until the transfer window to help his situation at the back. So he is stuck. And no matter what he does between now and the transfer window, it's basically shuffling deck chairs. It is not anything that he can do and throw money at the problem, which is what the sheikhs want to do when it comes to something like this. You're stuck for another 6 weeks with what you've got. And if you don't have the tools to create, when you're so good at your craft and you don't have the tools to create, it's got to be frustrating as hell. Because I mean, right now, and let's take it from the Liverpudlian point of view. You're healthy. You've got depth. You're in multiple competitions.
We feel like City 2 years ago.
Right. You don't have anything going wrong right now. This is like Fast and the Furious 6. and you're at the end. The helicopter is coming after you, and you're being chased down the parking deck, and you're Vin Diesel, and that helicopter is launching the missile, and you find a way off the parking deck, and it doesn't matter how hurting you are, Michelle Rodriguez is going to find you and plant the kiss on you and bring you back from the dead. You're Vin Diesel in Fast and the Furious right now. No one can touch you. You are impervious to bullets.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You feeling pretty good right now?
I am, but going back to Pep, a couple of things. I think he coached that game as well as any coach could have, given what was going on. Moments happen in games, and it changes the complexion, it changes the way the games go. I think Pep was as good as he's ever been in that game. The City, at times, early in the first 15 minutes, it felt like it was over. But then they grew into the game, and they were never really out of it. And even at, 75 minutes or whenever they scored late on, this happened at Anfield last season, or was it 2 seasons ago, the 4-3 game?
Yeah.
And, but for an inch offside, they would have been 4-4 in that game, and it would have been a totally different thing. As soon as that goal went in, I promise you, every Liverpool fan was like, "Oh no, here we go."
Yeah.
And he said all the right things after the game too. His reactions, while a bit animated and kind of going in that sort of darker days phase that we've seen in the past from him, were honest. And refreshing a little bit, because he knew what the importance of this game was. He seeded that officially now Liverpool is the best team in England, if not Europe. He seeded that. Before this game, this was the game that decides who the better team is.
Yeah.
And really, it's 9s and 10s. There's not a big gap there. If this is a full City side, this game would have been totally different. It might have been a snoozer 1-1, 0-0, just because the chess game going on.
But you got to play with the throttle wide open if things are wrong at the back, which is what they are right now for Manchester City.
Well, I think the one misstep, and who am I to criticize Pep Guardiola?
Oh, come on! That's what the show's all about.
Absolutely,
especially for Liverpool fans.
Okay, fair enough. The one misstep where Pep really missed it was it's 3-0. 70 some odd minutes, 80 minutes, you've got nothing to lose. Even if we score 10 goals and it all falls apart, you're still going to win on goal difference at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So you have to go for the point or the points. Why take off Aguero, who's the only player on that pitch that can make a goal out of nothing, even when he's had 89 minutes of bad play? I don't think there's anyone better in the Premier League at doing that. And Aguero did it to us last season as well at the Etihad, where he just pulled a goal out of nowhere. Why would you pull him off? I couldn't believe that. And replace him with Jesus, who's not as good. Maybe he brings a little more pace, but there's nothing else that he brings that Aguero
But remember,
has.
though, Sergio Aguero's form against Liverpool at Anfield.
He's never scored in 798 minutes.
Yes.
I never buy those things, like it being some sort of hoodoo or something like that. I don't believe in that sort of stuff.
But if the juju's not there for you today, then don't you want to sit there and make sure at some point that Sergio Aguero has those 20 minutes back for later on in the year if you need him later?
This is the game. This is the only game that matters on the calendar. And then the next one is the return leg at the Etihad, the reverse fixture.
See how I got the Liverpool fan to admit something on behalf of Manchester City?
Hey,
No, obviously I can be biased, but there's no better team on paper in the world than a full-fledged Manchester City with everyone healthy.
No doubt.
Even after this game being played. They're just that good, and Pep Guardiola is that good. There's no question. I think pulling off Aguero was a mistake. Bringing on Jesus was right, but bring him on for someone else. Take someone in midfield out. Gundogan, take him out. Bring on...
and how much of the injury to David Silva, not having a healthy David Silva, do you think contributed to all
I think
this?
that was the crucial headline that a lot of people glossed over in midweek, because we found out, I think, Wednesday or Thursday that he wasn't going to play, and then of course, or was it Monday or Tuesday we found out, and then Tuesday we found out. Wednesday, the Ederson injury kind of blew that out of the water, and everyone forgot. But Silva is that sneaky, cheeky player that makes those passes, in tight spaces, even more than De Bruyne, I think, for Man City. Silva has been that guy for years and years for Manchester City.
So is he going to Inter Miami?
Why not? Why not? Just like Pep has nothing else he can do besides win Champions League, and if he doesn't win this year, does he have it in him to go a whole year to try and do it again when everyone else is going to be better as well, just a little bit? David Silva has nothing left to prove to anyone in the world as being one of the better or best midfielders to ever do it. And if he goes to Inter Miami, he'll get a nice cushy paycheck, get a nice place on the beach, and get to live that life. Why not? I think he deserves it. I think he should.
I absolutely think he should. And the difference is I think he has a lot left in the tank. As opposed to Zlatan came over and did great things. But Zlatan would also get on the phone to season ticket holders for the Galaxy and say, Zlatan is bringing home championships, Zlatan will be... No, none of it happened. I mean, the Galaxy essentially set their money on
all the trophies that Zlatan brought to LA Galaxy.
Yeah, he brought them in his suitcase and he took them back with him wherever he's going to end up going.
I don't like the tone we're taking here. I don't want to blame Zlatan. Because Zlatan came and did what he was supposed to do. He played his part. He played the villain.
And the defense was awful at the Galaxy.
And he scored all the goals. That's just a colossal failure of the front office.
And then you brought in Christian Pavone.
Yeah.
And Pavone helped out matters there in the middle. Jonah Dos Santos was there.
His first game when Pavone came in, it looked like, this could turn around for Galaxy. And then they barely made the playoffs, and it all came to a head in that game.
But still, when you look at it on paper, it had all the markings of a traditional MLS LA signing, which is you come over, you have glossy moments that are OMG moments, and then a lot of moments of him not getting service, him being a step slower than he was before. Now is he going to La Liga? Is he going to Serie A?
Manchester United are saying bring him for
cup of
what
coffee.
Do they have to lose?
They have nothing to lose,
and it would be great fan service if nothing else. Which if I were in their shoes, I would love that.
Yeah, well, for Man United, it'd be like we're doing Zlatan right. We didn't do him right before. Sure. We're making this better.
And it is Zlatan. He brings it. He brings it. If Zlatan comes in January and is healthy for Manchester United, he's scoring 10 goals. Write it down. In all comps.
You put it on the board?
Yeah, it's on the board. He's scoring 10 goals all comps. If he comes to Manchester, anywhere he goes in January, he's scoring 10 goals all comps.
Okay.
All right. Man City's next series of fixtures is going to be you have City versus Chelsea on Saturday. That's going to be another.
But that's at home, though.
Yeah. But that's going to be
at home at the Etihad.
Yeah.
What is that really an advantage? I think City's
not this year. Not this year.
Has it ever been? An advantage?
It depends if they have enough influencers that they pay to tweet that the game is happening.
Hey, go here.
Yeah.
City winning at the Etihad is just because they're better than everyone else, not because the Etihad is.
No, it's not a fortress. It's not a fortress.
No.
It's not Anfield. It's not Old Trafford in the old days. It's not that level.
Right.
When you have Manchester City being Manchester City, you expect a win. You expect a big number.
That's right.
And that's about it.
And then they have Shakhtar. That's going to be on the 26th, and then we're talking Newcastle, Burnley, and then United. So
I really like this Chelsea team. The forced youth.
Amazing what happens when you rely on the youth that you brought through your system.
Imagine had they done that several years ago. And
Roman Abramovich's ego would never allow that.
Fair enough, but now his hands are tied, and Frank is doing what he has to do. And I think Frank should get a mention here for with all the controversy and stuff with the David Luiz at the beginning of the season and all that. That said, I would hate to be the team that has to play Pep Guardiola next. I mean, because if Guardiola is the Bill Belichick of soccer, right? If he's that guy, would you ever want to play Belichick after losing?
No.
You don't want to play Guardiola after losing either. I think Chelsea could have a repeat of that fluky Man United 4-0 at the start of the season.
Oh, wow.
Because... would you want to be Pep's players after this game? I don't know how he does it. I don't think he reams into them or anything like that. But he's like that father figure, right? That's just, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And you really, your eyes well up and you're like,
I'm sorry, Dad.
Yep. But they're going to show out for Pep. His players are going to play out their skin against Chelsea. And it's going to be a real test for Chelsea.
But right now, 8 points clear. Mm-hmm. And then you have the gaggle of 3 behind. Under normal circumstances, we would think that Manchester City would be one of those 3 teams. Under normal circumstances. But the other two are Leicester, who is second in the table.
Amazing.
We've been teasing this all season, though. We've been saying Leicester could be there, and here we are.
Yep.
Here's Leicester in second place.
Yeah.
Unreal.
No, and we've said if they are still in the top 4 or 5, going into the January window, my God, what an achievement! They're legitimate, but they're in second place now. They're legitimate. I think it's safe to say that they're a very dangerous squad. They've won their last 4. So
before it potentially all falls apart for Leicester, can we spare a thought for Brendan Rodgers? Much maligned with how it ended.
I know I know that Jarrett will.
But as a Liverpool supporter, I loved Brendan Rodgers as a manager. I didn't like his personality, which he's matured and grown a lot since then. Because that was a crazy role for a manager at that level to be thrown into managing Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah.
But he's gone from strength to strength.
We miss him at Swansea, we'll tell you that.
he got his teeth done shortly after arriving at Liverpool, right? Isn't that when he got all of his teeth done and the new girlfriend and
divorce and all the Being Liverpool documentary and the envelopes and all that nonsense? But he's gone from strength to strength and is leaving Liverpool. At Celtic, he was incredible. Invincibles, Kolo Touré, double invincible. So throw that out there.
There you go.
And now he's got Kolo on the bench beside him as a coach as well. So
all right, and so then you go through the top 4, and to say it is the hashtag gaggle is almost an insult to gaggles, because if you think about it, let's just go back 6 points, maybe.
Okay.
All right, so you go back 6 points right now in the Premier League. You're locked up from 5th to the relegation spots.
Oh yeah, the drop off from 4th to 5th is crazy.
But seriously, you look at where things are. 8-point gap from Manchester City to the team who is 5th.
Yep.
And strangely enough, they play a 3-5-2 and have freaked the Premier League out by playing a 3-5-2.
Yep.
Not just a 3-5-2, but a 3-5-2 with attacking center backs. So you have center backs who will absolutely charge forward.
And bombing wingers.
For Leicester?
For Sheffield.
Sheffield United.
Sheffield.
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest, I haven't paid that much attention.
Yeah.
Sheffield United and Chris Wilder. He had the 3-5-2 going when he was in the championship. It got him promoted. Now he's still playing the 3-5-2 with the same personnel. They've gotten a couple of pickups here and there, like Ollie McBurney and such. But it's the same philosophy, and they're freaking out because they've never seen this in the Premier League.
The first couple games, or even before they started playing, I thought to myself, man, Sheffield United not really making a splash, not spending any money, whereas Aston Villa comes in and spends 130 million.
Yeah.
I thought they were, if I had to bet on it, if I had to make a guess on it at the beginning of the season, put some candy on it, so to speak, I would have said Sheffield United for sure relegated.
Yeah. We had. We'll see. We had
Newcastle.
We had Newcastle, Southampton, and a third, and we were splitting whether it was going to be Norwich or Sheffield or whatever. But Chris Wilder is doing what he's got to do at home, and he's grinding out results on the road. Okay, so here's my question.
Yep.
Manager of the year right now: Brendan Rodgers, Chris Wilder.
Brendan Rodgers. If you tell me right now, I think it's Brendan Rodgers, just because the way Leicester is playing right now, it's absolutely nuts.
Jurgen's not in the discussion.
Manager of the year
for Herr Klopp, he's not there for you.
I love Klopp. I think Klopp's a great guy.
He's got enough slotted. So
well, but the thing is, my problem is that it's the easy play. It's the shiny object.
Yeah.
Yes, with what he's doing is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But then that's how I'm looking at things. I mean, you're 11-1 after you're through your first 12. I mean, you were almost perfect, which is unheard of.
Right. Last season it should have been him, but this season we're expected to be there. So I guess it's not really fair. We've seen this several years where there's a couple of teams in the top 4 at this time of the year that just surprise you, and then at the end of the season they're where they belong, without being rude. No. So I think it's very early, but right now I would say Brendan Rodgers, and he deserves.
Actually, but you would say Klopp, Rodgers, Wilder. That would be your 3.
I might give the nod to Brendan Rodgers because of it just occurred to me that Liverpool's supposed to be here, whereas last year it was crazy that we were where
Right.
we were. Whereas this year, if we're not at the top of the league or separating ourselves from the pack, whether it's a 2-horse race or not, then we're not where we need to be.
So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, basically.
Well, Klopp has a job to do now. Last year was great, and everyone was in the fields and all that. But now he's got a job to do, and he's got that squad believing that they've got a job to do. It's not about hopes and dreams and wishes. It's about getting the job done.
Right.
And we have to win the league this year. We absolutely have to. Because if we don't,
It's not happening.
it's just,
It's not happening.
And you got to wonder what it's going to take.
if we don't win the league this year, next year I'm going to emerge from like some icy cave with a beard down to
You look
my
like Ryan
knees.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I'll be Ryan Fitzpatric with all the magic on.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my goodness, I don't even want to think about it. It's a new topic.
No. I think it's there. Look, Unai Emery has Arsenal kind of parked at 6, but it can't be too much longer for
No.
him. I just don't.
I think there's how many Arsenal board members are there? 11 or whatever.
11 billion.
Let's say 11. There's 6 people in the world, maybe 7 if you count Unai himself, that believe Unai Emery should still be the manager of Arsenal, and that's 6 out of 11 majority on the board, plus Unai. I don't think anyone else is on this train any longer. I mean, the Brewhouse is an official Arsenal supporters club.
Excellent plug. Nicely done.
There we go.
I chat a lot with a lot of my friends who are Gooners, and they've been holding on. Some of them didn't like it from the start. Some of them have been like, give him time. To a man and woman, they are all, it's time. Get him out. If I'm Arsenal, I make a big money offer to Mikel Arteta, poach him from Man City, because if he's the heir apparent to Guardiola,
Better jump on him now.
he can definitely manage Arsenal.
Right.
And you just throw the money at the problem and get rid of Unai. Everyone will be thrilled because Arteta's a legend for Arsenal. It's a way to get goodwill with a fan base you're losing them if you're the good right
No
now.
doubt. And Stan Kroenke can't afford that.
No, you can't afford your piggy bank to be dropping.
You can't afford to rely on your Denver properties to make to make your break
No,
even.
you can't. The Prairie Dogs, the Plague, are going to kind of put a hamper on that business venture of yours out there. No, but you have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with Man United at 7. I mean,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. We beat them up enough.
No,
I feel like Dusty Rhodes. It is what it is with Manchester United. The Red Devils, they don't have that. They got the tail between their legs. That's what's going on with Manchester United, Mr. Leafy. That's what's happening, brother.
Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gaddies of Bushwood are running wild.
But a big win this weekend.
Yeah, but...
any port in a storm, and if you win 3-1, and there's scored some pretty goals in this game.
You don't know which Brighton's going to show up on a weekly basis.
Right.
And you know what? As much as we have hammered Steve Bruce in Newcastle,
2 in a row.
they're sitting.
Who are you people?
Break up Newcastle.
This has been Newcastle since they've been last promoted, right? You can never put your finger on them, but at the end of the season, they're going to finish 10th. That's where they're going to be.
So you're saying 10th?
But more or less.
Okay.
In February, they're going to be relegation embattled, and then they're going to win a few quietly. Nobody notices. And by the end of the season, they're between 12. They're between 8 and 14. They're comfortably out of the relegation.
I think they finished the season 16 or 17.
Oh, it's going to be a race to the bottom.
Well, because, think about who's below them: Spurs, Everton, West Ham,
Norwich.
Well, and then you get to like 17, 18, 19, 20, which is Villa, Watford, Southampton, Norwich.
I don't think you're going to tank so poorly that you're going to end up getting in Watford, Southampton, and Norwich territory.
Those are the 3 I'd probably pick.
So that's what you're betting right now, those 3?
Honestly, there's no reason to believe they're going to get better.
In Norwich, Daniel Farke actually said at his press avail this week when they were asking about the possibility of him being able to invest in the January transfer window, he said it's not going to happen. We're paying for past sins.
Wow.
Goodness, say anything but that when you're 20th.
So... Oof. Yeah, so my pickup of Timu Pukki for fantasy was great to start, and it has been
flamed out for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Norwich, shot their shot against City,
Yep.
and then that was it. They gave it their all. Thank you very much. We love you and respect you for it, Norwich, but
it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Goodness help you.
And you know, Moise Kean, I thought was going to be. I just thought that he was going to produce more for Everton than he has. I'm really shocked at his failure to develop, because at Juve he was such a shooting star. With the national team, he performed well. And to me, that's my gauge. If you can perform well in both entities, you know, especially as a young player, there's a future for you, barring injury and whatnot. But to go from even 6 months ago being a shooting star to now, like, you're like included. You're traveling with the team, but not necessarily including the 18. It's like, guys.
But that's the thing about the Premier League. It chews you up and spits you out. It doesn't care who you are.
Right.
There's nobody in this day and age with all the money on the line, with all the stakes, can afford to try and blood in a player at the expense of points. Right? And if there's the calculation that Marco Silva's making that says Moise Kean is not going to help us win today,
right,
then there's no way you can start him. You can't afford those chances in the Prem anymore.
No, you can't.
Especially for a club like Everton that has a lot to prove, who's consistently disappointed and underwhelmed. They've got a lot to prove, so even more pressure on them. And so this league does that a lot. People you think are going to come in and really light it up and take the next step up in their careers or what have you, it doesn't always pan out that way. It's a meat grinder.
I will say that I love the fact that this year, across Europe, you're seeing leagues that are just getting tighter and tighter and tighter, where the point differential between 1 and like 8 are maybe 3-4 points apart.
Beautiful.
And it's amazing. I mean, when you look at La Liga, for example, I'm trying to find the stat here that there are 13 teams within 8 points. 13 teams within 8 points, and for a league that we have just killed as being a 2-horse league, finally you have something different where you have Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico at the top 3. That's great. 25, 25, 24. But then you have Sevilla, 24. Sociedad, 23. Bilbao at 20. Getafe at 20. Granada at 20. Valencia at 9 at 20.
Granada!
Osasuna at 19. I mean, it's nuts. Give all the hate you want to financial fair play, but it's working. It's not an isolated deal where one league, the money league in the Prem, is where you're starting to see more intelligent allocation of cash. You're starting to see it across the board, except for Serie A, because I just think there's so much debt they don't even know where to start with that. It's like when when you meet someone who's like really young, to like 19 or 20, and they're like, yeah, I have like $25,000 in credit card debt. It's like, wait, what? Like you're already so far in the hole that you don't even know what to do to help yourself. But shout out to these leagues that are actually competitive. But when you turn on a game on Saturday or Sunday, that it is 100% worth tuning in. Like when you see a Sociedad game, you're like, do I really want to watch this? I guess it's Sociedad versus Bilbao. Well, heck yeah, I want to watch it because, if the top 4 don't win and Sociedad does, they're at the top of the table. Like it's absolutely insane, and I think it really makes watching worldwide, it just makes it worthwhile now. Like you can watch any league now, and it's compelling and it's exciting, and this is something we haven't seen in a couple of years. And I hope to God it continues because it makes our job certainly easier.
Including Ligue 1?
No. I mean, look, League on.
Farmers League.
Yeah, but I am tired. I mean, like, no, I'm not. Who wants to watch League on? I get it. Hold on, I got to pull this up because to me it's just.
I taunted him with the table now.
You've taunted me with the table now. Let's go ahead and pull the standings up for Ligue 1 if we could. You have PSG at 30 and Marseille at 22. Okay.
8 points.
All right. But then you have Angers at 21, Saint Etienne at 21, and Lille at 19. But, I mean, PSG, there's like one loss in their last 5.
I'm not going to watch Nantes and Rennes because that's going to get you to second in the table.
Now, I haven't been watching, but in Ligue 1, is PSG even entertaining to watch?
No.
Or is it just
No.
it's one team really just dominating another to the point
it's
where
one team dominating, and then when they get to international competition, they screw it
It's
up.
like getting beaten in FIFA so badly that you don't even rage quit. You just sit there and watch.
Yeah.
It's when it gets tight, it's because PSG is screwing up.
Yes.
It's because they're turned off. And Tuchel's, I think, done as good of a job as he could with that. I think they've told him, your job is Champions League. You know, Leonardo is doing well with trying to build the squad out and keep them out of the financial fair play, troubles that they can't buy their way out of, But I do believe that this will be a different PSG in Champions League. But at the same time, from a league perspective, they know they have it in the bag. They're just coasting.
But that's the gift and the curse with PSG.
It is.
The league is always in the bag, but the fact that they're not being tested week in and week out is why I believe they always bomb out of Champions League.
Right. For a while, it was like the Big Ten in college football, where Ohio State was smashing everybody, but it was a period of just lean years for the Big Ten. Right. And so Ohio State would show up into the BCS championship game like, here we are, we're going to win. And then, insert SEC team here would just smash them, and knock them off the field. Yeah. But I'm hoping that we get a different PSG. I want a PSG that at least gets to the semifinals. I want them at the semifinals. Because I believe it just something needs to happen with them to make them relevant. And I want if you're a big spender, I'm a Ric Flair fan. I want alligator shoes, Rolex watches, limousines, bright lights, big cities, and the Champions League, and then like Ajax. I want that.
We've got enough big time teams. We don't need PSG to make it any better.
Why not?
I'd rather have a Leicester show up.
No. I would rather.
See, you want Leicester. We all want Leicester, but the TV partners don't want Leicester.
Don't want Leicester. No.
Well, they're going to find out. Maybe not Leicester, but the TV partners are starting to turn their heads from PSG.
Well,
it's sleek, it's sexy, it's amazing. It's Neymar.
And then it's the Price is Right loser horn at a key moment every single time.
There's some calculations going on with all the sponsors and everything, and as long as they can keep milking that and getting the money out of it, they will. But as soon as the calculation turns south, everyone will abandon PSG until they win a Champions League.
Well,
they'll be sold.
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say. If they bomb out of Champions League again, watch Roma, because they just released their books, and Pallotta has done an amazing job of getting their finances stabilized, which for the club has been impossible for years. And you guys have been the recipients, Liverpool, Roma fans should really thank Liverpool for bailing them out. Shout out to Fenway Sports Group. But watch that. If Pallotta feels like he can't get any more blood from that turnip, watch that ownership come over and try to buy in to Serie A, because it's
another big time sexy city in an actually competitive league. I think that's a better formula for success.
Exactly, and you have something to shoot for right away. Yeah. You have that giant black and white J at the top of the table, and you got a monster to kill.
Speaking of that J.
Oh yes,
I was reading Calcio Mercato.
Ooh.
And they were discussing a particular gentleman who wears the jersey for Calcio Mercato currently.
Oh, hey, hold on. Can we have fireworks and
pew 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 pew?
Yeah, guys. There's no racism story coming out of Italy this weekend.
There are in other places. We'll get to that later.
World, but there's no racism story coming out of Italy.
I bet if you dig deep,
if you dig deep enough, you may find it. But there's nothing making the main headlines right now. Way to go, Italy! Oh God, you guys suck. All right,
the bar is low.
Yeah, the bar is so low. The bar is so low. All right, so Juve played Milan, in which I thought Milan was going to get slaughtered, but Milan actually played the best that they have all season long. So Pioli, I still don't think he lasts the season, but he has managed to find something in this squad where they put on at least an exciting game and they died with dignity. But a weird moment happened.
How weird was it?
Cristiano Ronaldo was subbed out. Maurizio Sarri claims that between drags of his cigarette and espresso shots that Ronaldo picked up a minor injury in training.
Little injury. It's very small.
And so he subbed him out. And Ronaldo, of course, was not happy with this development.
Neither were his abs.
At all. No, all 12 of his abs were not happy either. But he did not go to the bench. He did not go only to the locker room.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
He picked up and left the building.
Wow.
Now, there's a problem with this.
See Kepa the keeper.
You are not allowed to leave the stadium.
Bale did it.
Because of drug testing policies.
Oh.
And so, and so of all people, Antonio Cassano, he spoke on Italian television, Tiki Taka, and talking about his time at Roma, and he said he left the Olympic Stadium early during a derby against Lazio and was pulled back into the stadium. Like, they told him, you can't leave. And if you do, you could be up for a 2-year ban from league play.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ronaldo skates on this.
I will say that yes. I think they will invent some story saying that they got him on the way out the door or something.
He was on his way to the hospital for
the same test.
For the same.
We recommended he go to a professional facility instead of something on site.
That's right. But how crazy is this?
It is crazy. Even by Ronaldo standards, he hasn't done this kind of thing ever, I don't think.
No.
On the pitch.
No. And if you're watching Serie A, in Atlanta United world, I'm not comparing the two players at all, but you're talking about players that had supreme physical gifts, and Tito Villalba and Cristiano Ronaldo. Supreme speed. The minute when the Jets went on, other players were left behind. Obviously, Ronaldo is in a complete, he is on Neptune, right? And we get it. But you get a couple of injuries, and then a couple of more injuries, and then you get an injury you can't quite shake, and then when you finally get quote-unquote healthy, and then you realize that player has lost a step or 3. Watching Juve this year, Ronaldo does not look remotely like even the Ronaldo of last season or the season before at all. There's no real. Sure, I don't think there's anyone south of Messi that has the ability to make a player just die on the field of completely whiffing your defensive clearance, but I'm watching Ronaldo that looks like a shell of himself.
So this is like the year when A-Rod hit under 200?
Yeah.
But he's, 35 now?
Of course, yeah.
The only reason we're having this discussion is because it is Ronaldo, and he is larger than life.
Correct.
And all those things. But this is normal. This is beyond normal because this would happen to any other player 2 or 3 years ago.
But the difference is that you have a manager who's recognizing it and getting him out of the game. As opposed to some of those other managers who say, player X is, this big name and is a legend, and if I mess with that player, I'm out the door.
Ronaldo would do well to realize that Sarri is protecting him rather than trying to show
Correct.
Because, and even with the whole Kepa situation, Sarri, he tries his best to protect his players with what he says and does after the game and after the fact. But this guy can't escape controversy one way or another.
Right. And Fabio Capello mentioned as much also on TV. He said that the fact that he didn't sit on the bench, said bad words to Sarri is not a pretty picture. And it went on that one must be a champion, even when he is replaced. Not only when things are going well. And the player that came in for him, Dybala, scored the winning goal and looked exceptional in the game. And every time Dybala has come on for Juve as of late, he has looked exceptional.
He's reinventing himself.
He's a player who has been reborn. And so then here comes the nuclear option from Capello. He said the truth is that Ronaldo has not dribbled past an opponent for 3 years. I remember when he went past players and left them there. Now it doesn't happen anymore. While Douglas Costa and Dybala do it.
I'm sure that's not a true stat. It can't be.
Just nuked the man on Italian television.
You can't.
And let me tell you something. Juve is ruthless. Juve is ruthless.
Juve is ruthless, but that, and as much as I've loathed Ronaldo over the years, from a hater perspective, not you can't hate his talent, but I hate the man. That is high disrespect to call him out like that. He scored 35 goals last year or something like that. Yeah. You can't call him out like that. That's crazy.
But to me, it's a different phase, and this is where the difference comes in. You have some players who are just physical specimens, and when the physical side starts to deteriorate,
it will inevitably for everyone.
And it will. Father Time, undefeated. And those players tend to go away because they can't get out of just being that physical presence. Then you have some players like Jordan who go from being high-flying wizard to, the fadeaway, right? The nuclear fadeaway that just killed so many damn teams on his resurgence. And you're seeing that with Ronaldo, where the goals are not the same kind of goals. They're there.
A lot more purchase goals,
exactly.
A lot more one-offs.
Yes.
Ronaldo's not the guy that's going to be like, okay, I'm 35. I can still play this game, but I have to reinvent myself. He's not going to go further and further deep to save his legs and all that. He's just, if he's not banging in the goals, he's not Ronaldo and he quits. I think that's what's going to happen, and we're going to see it in the next 12 months.
You think in the next 12 months, Ronaldo's done? No MLS tour.
No Inter Miami run with Beckham United.
I hate to say it, but if he does that, he is done being Ronaldo.
So you're saying he's a caricature of himself if he does the Inter Miami tour?
Well, he still gets to make money and off the brand Ronaldo, and this is not a knock on MLS, but he will still be great in MLS.
Oh yeah.
And Ronaldo's not going to. You see what did Klopp say? I'm not a clown. Ronaldo's nobody's clown.
Right.
If he's going to play, he's doing it because he thinks he can score goals.
Right.
Whether it's at this level or that level, just like Zlatan, these players aren't going to be anyone's clown. So if he comes to Inter Miami, which would be great, he's gonna break the record. He's gonna score all the goals in the world, and he's gonna be. We're gonna see him as Ronaldo because it's a little bit lower of a level than what he has played at, and so he can combat Father Time a little bit by playing at a lower level.
I don't think he's coming.
Well,
I don't. One,
right. I could see it.
The legal challenges, obviously, they're
excellent point.
I think that's
But the thing is, if they keep that alive for 2 years, because it's the Feds, they can keep anything alive they want for any period of time. We know that the Las Vegas side of business has closed down with that. They're not. But if the Feds keep that going for 2 years, there's no way he's coming.
No.
There's no way he's coming. He will retire and he'll get some, contract with Tissot.
Hundreds of billions in China just by weird floss brand endorsements and whatever he's doing.
Right.
So he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's going to make enough money to.
Would China pay him $100 million, $200 million
in a heartbeat?
100% they would do it.
Would he do it? I think he would. He sold himself out.
It's
on
all
the
about
side.
if he's all about expanding his brand.
Oh, he is.
Then still at 35 or 36.
If you think David Beckham was a brand genius,
I think he'll make. I think he will sign with China, but I don't think it's going to be in the way most people think. I don't think he will be a player. I think he'll sign a lucrative contract to be a quote-unquote brand ambassador. Yeah. And that way he can still be Ronaldo, but not Ronaldo. There's a difference between Ronaldo and Ronaldo.
Yes.
And I think he dreads. I think you're 100% right in that he dreads being lower octave Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. And so we want pomp and circumstance Ronaldo, and we're not going to get that.
When you start seeing him act out of character in this way, I think the writing starts to be on the wall. Mm-hmm. And this is the surest sign of it. Within 12 months, he's done.
Yeah.
Now, going back to what you said about Juventus and they have no chill, I'd like to say something about Juventus.
Well, please.
Here we go.
There you go.
Juventus bet the farm. They bet $100 million on a 34-year-old.
Yep.
Ronaldo, for people who aren't following. They bet $100 million on a 34-year-old to bring them Champions League and nothing else.
That's it.
Juventus, and I still haven't got over the match fixing scandals and all that. I don't forgive them.
No, neither do I.
I won't give them credit for winning Serie A ever, because they don't ever get credit for that again. The only way Juventus is, for me, relevant on the continent is when they win Champions League. And they've come very close, tantalizingly close. But until they do that, they're not one of the best teams in the continent.
No.
They just can't be. And they bet all that money on Ronaldo to do it for them. Mm-hmm. And he peaked, and now we're seeing him.
We're seeing the decline.
We're seeing the slow decline.
Yeah.
So how are they going to do it?
I mean,
with all this baggage, financial baggage, we're paying him. I think.
I tell you want to know how they're going to do it?
They took their shot and missed.
What they're going to do is they will find. I'm sure there's a mutual termination clause in that contract.
Sure,
it has to be buried in there somewhere. And they will let Ronaldo leave to go do whatever Ronaldo wants to do. Be it brand ambassador, actually play in China, play somewhere else, go to Man United. Who knows? But then they're going to go and they're going to take a ton of cash and they're going to hit up Fiorentina and they're going to say, you tell us when to stop offering zeros for Chiesa. All right? And then they're going to go and they're going to hit up Brescia and they're going to say, okay, how much for Tonali?
So they're going to do what they always do.
They're going to do what they always do.
They're going to go back to the old formula.
The old formula.
Well, which wasn't. They came close.
Yeah.
So they might as well, if their goal is to win Champions League, and it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
They're going to make all the money in the world as a club because they have the brand.
Right.
But for Italians, you have to. Where's the meat?
Right.
Where's the carne? You have to win.
Yeah. You got.
You know?
And it's. You have a resurgent Inter, who is right there on their heels now, and you know that Antonio Conte will do fine domestically. Mm-hmm. Europe's a different animal altogether for him. But for Juve, it is, to me, this is the end of an era for them, and you don't have the same architects in place who built the club there anymore. Pepe Murata's not there. He's with Inter. Antonio Conte, obviously, with Inter. So now you have guys who are, they only know one way, and that's raiding the lower-end Serie A clubs to get.
I do believe in Juve's capacity to be bold.
Yeah.
To be that club that will do what it takes to not lose their perch and their relevance. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to watch them in the next couple of years. And Ronaldo and see this whole thing fall apart.
Because at the same time, also, as a publicly traded company,
absolutely,
you don't want to continue to have a depreciating asset on your books unless you can find a way to write it off.
That's right.
Speaking of the stock market alert, what is Manchester United stock right now? I believe the ticker is MUFC.
Let's find out, shall we?
Let's pull it up. John is efforting, and while we do that,
let's pull their 2-year chart up.
That's right. While John's pulling that up, I'm going to go through the Serie A table. We have Juve at 32 points, Inter at 31, Lazio at 24, Cagliari at 24, Atalanta at 22, and Roma hanging out also at 22. And the disaster zone, dump all stocks immediately for Napoli. Because word on the street is that Aurelio De Laurentiis has essentially said this season's a wrap.
He's firing everyone.
Everyone's going to be gone. The amount of transfers out of Napoli this year could be comedic.
But that said, nobody gets paid like Napoli gets paid. They get money for their players.
They get, because Aurelio holds out and says, he's like, I'm not.
He doesn't bend to anybody.
No.
He won't bend the knee. He's no Jon Snow.
No. There's no bending of knees taking place. Aurelio is he's going to hold your feet to the fire. But the fact that if one person betrays him, and you saw this with Sadi when he thought this, he was willing to pay Sadi just to keep him away from Chelsea, just to say, no, you're sitting at home. I'm not releasing your rights. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm not letting you go until they pay me. And the fact that Insigne led the rebellion against the extra training, against the retreat, it's going to be amazing to watch what happens. Because he completely rebuilt Napoli squad, and there's no comedy in that at all.
He runs Napoli like the Corleone family.
Yeah.
Everyone's about to get Fredo.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, he getting his little boat.
Yep.
Fredo's going to say to Hail Mary, and then, the guy in the back. I'm smart. I can do things. I'm not like what they think, dumb. What a fantastic.
To answer your question, the stock ticker is Man U. So they're poking fun at Manchester United by giving them don't Manchester United fans hate being referred to as Man U?
I think they do. Yeah, it's Mufsy. That's
Mufsy.
So yeah, Man U is ended the day down 4 cents to 16.77.
Now, I remember them being around 19 at the end of the Fergie era. I could be wrong on that, but I think that was it.
Their 52-week high, actually, 22.40.
When was that?
Let's find.
That'll be interesting to see what the time period was then.
Year to date, so 1 year, and then the 52-week low is 15.30. So the 22.
That was when they were near relegation zone, I imagine. And now they're starting to trend back up towards 7th. You know,
This time a year ago was when they were in the 22 range.
Oh, at the height of the Ole.
Ole's at the wheel.
Yeah.
Ole's at the wheel.
This could be a fun thing to track, honestly. Because
stock peak hater.
No, not peak hater. Because when eventually they start just trending upwards, it's Manchester United. They're going to find a way.
They will find a way.
And when they do, it would be really interesting to see if there's a correlation with the stock price.
It's going to be something that's going to be worth watching.
Yep.
It's going to be something that's going to be worth watching. And the idea of a publicly traded team is absolutely mind-bending to me. The fact that Juve does it, that Man U does it, it's...
The idea of being able to buy Manchester United on the floor.
Yeah.
Literally buy them.
Right.
With my own money.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's really fun thinking about to me.
I wonder how many people are sitting there like, Christmas is coming around.
Yeah.
What does Tommy like? Well, Tommy really likes that one Manchester team. Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe we could get him. Oh, we could get him stock. Oh my God, who does that? Like you open Christmas morning and you pull out the little envelope, and there are 2 shares of Manchester United stock waiting. Like, do you frame that? Do you put that up on the?
I'm not familiar, but there is a way to buy. It's on the New York Stock Exchange. There is a way to buy paper shares still. And have the actual certificate of stock.
Right.
Might have to do that for some of these sad United fans around the Brewhouse.
I think you may need to do that. What a thing that would be for you. Like, you know what? You showed up, Arsenal versus Man U. You came here to an Arsenal supporters bar, and you sat in the middle of it. You know what you get rewarded, sir? You get 1 share of Man United stock.
Or they could be nice placemats.
There you go.
Wow. blow it up and laminate it.
That's what I think about your stock.
No, the actual certificate. No one would steal it.
There you go. No one would steal it. Just get left out.
I'm sorry. I digress.
See?
Is that the new meme? Is it somebody broke into a car and left a share of Manchester United stock on the front?
Yes.
Look at what these vandals did to my car.
Yes.
the shares in the front seat.
As much as I love having fun at United's expense, they are Joker and Batman with Liverpool.
Yeah.
Changing roles every now and again.
Yeah.
But without one, the other just isn't complete.
It's true. You need the Prem, as much as you hate Manchester United, you need them to be good.
The pillars of the Premier League are United and Liverpool.
You need them to be good.
And everyone else just trades scaffolding.
Because otherwise, if they're not good, eyeballs turn. I hate Notre Dame, but college football is more interesting when they're good.
Yep.
Because they start circling around the BCS. Like, oh, they haven't played anyone. Oh, you played Navy this weekend. Congratulations.
I would go so far as to say United not being good is why the Prem has been a 1-2 horse race in the past several years.
Okay.
Because United isn't there anymore the way they used to be.
Right.
Even when they came in second 2 or 3 years ago,
Chelsea,
City was far and away.
It took Man U falling off and then Chelsea playing the role of Wile E. Coyote and finding new and inventive ways to throw themselves off a cliff. Like insert random player here you should have never signed.
Yeah, and player from Acme.
Yeah, exactly. The Acme rocket blows up. But I just think it's something where it blows my mind that the world that you live in now, and I'm going to have my 40-year-old moment here. It blows my mind that you can do that you can buy stock for a team, because from a financial fair play perspective, that's my okay boomer moment right there. It blows my mind from a financial fair play standpoint, because you can readjust your debt and make yourself look more attractive as a company.
Of course.
And get more investment, or you can drop out. We are signing Mr. X this January window. Prices go up, and now you have more revenue.
Correct.
And you don't do it, and it's crazy.
Right.
It's absolutely right. And what if some bad actor, some crazy dictator or whatever, wants to buy 1 billion shares and take over a significant portion of ownership of the club?
Exactly.
I'm sure they don't have as many as 51% shares in the market.
Yeah.
Maybe 10%. What if someone wants to come in with unlimited money and do that?
Yeah. I mean, you would have to have, in England, you would hope that some regulator would step in and be like, no, we're not going to.
But they're also traded on the New York Stock Exchange. So
there's nothing stopping that.
All kinds of different things going on.
And if you're remotely in, if you're remotely in good standing with the government and they don't have any sort of blockage on your ability to spend money and allocate resources here in the U.S., absolutely. You could go on the New York Stock Exchange and be like, drop some cash today, boys. What are you buying? I'm buying me a football team. And boom, before you know it, bad actor X now owns your favorite club.
And can wash their money however they want.
And they can make it a point where a certain amount of the companies in their country send money there, so that way you dodge the financial fair play regulations and. It is so nasty and dirty. I'm just throwing that out there. Did we just out a way for bad actors to wash the money laundering? I'm sorry, did. Feds. I'm sorry. That was not our intent. We did not mean to do that. That was not at all what we were hoping to do.
We know you're listening. We know you're
listening. We know you're listening.
Yeah.
Guys, what else out there in the world right now is piquing the interest?
Well, first off, since we're past the top of the hour, you probably need to do a rejoin.
A break rejoin?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It's like we're past the top of the hour.
Okay.
So we have to reintroduce ourselves.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right. So it's soccer over there.
There you go.
Yes, the Caddies at Bushwood. Clearly, we're all over the place today,
and this shocks you how?
It does not.
It's my fault.
No. Look, Sakeeb's the only reason why we're even remotely, because if it wasn't for Sakeeb being here, we would be talking about
we'd be talking. Well, you know what we would be talking about.
Right.
The John Moxley Kenny Omega match from Full Gear.
There we go.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the stuff we'd be talking about.
It would be. Little do you know that we're all big professional wrestling fans as well.
Yes.
So, if you is wrestling down here, can we find the purveyors of wrestling down here?
It is still an active Twitter account. It still exists.
Okay. All right.
Wrestling down here.
AEW doing some really
check that one out.
AEW is doing some great things. I'm just throwing that out there.
No doubt.
I don't want to lose the soccer crowd though, because now some people are like, oh my God, we're going to talk professional wrestling now.
No,
we talked about the stock market.
We talked about the stock market.
We talked about how to. How to be creative in your economic distribution habits.
There you go. Look, and one thing that you need to talk about as well is the fact that we have these phenomenal scarves, these Holding Midfielder Appreciation Society scarves. SDH, they're black and gray. They're stylish. You can wear them to your company holiday parties.
You can wear them to your Monday remote.
You can wear them to your kids' soccer tournaments, because we're getting into tournament time. I'm wearing mine this weekend. You better believe it. And it's stylish and it's amazing. They're so comfortable. And you need to have one, and you can come up here to the Brewhouse where they have 9,000 televisions. They have exceptional food.
Oh, wow.
Marvelous beverages. Yeah. I'm telling
9,412 TVs.
Yes.
We have all the TVs. We have all the best TVs.
The best TVs. Believe me.
Okay, so here's the question for Nathan Pugh, by the way.
Okay.
Nathan has said, forget Man U and the Blue Noses. Relegate them both.
Relegate them
That's
both.
A Liverpool supporter referring to Everton as the Blue Noses.
Wow. Pew coming hard. My goodness.
I'll tell you this. What's his name?
Nathan.
If you're using Blue Noses and you're getting that both United and Everton, I'm guessing you're a Liverpool supporter. Otherwise, you just have a lot of hate in your heart. You work that out.
Let them out.
We don't need to worry about them as Liverpool supporters. They're so far in the rear view.
Wow.
We can't even see them. Right.
He says don't worry about the little people, man. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Remember, right now we need them.
Wow.
We need them for the 3 points every single time we see them.
This is amazing. I This is a new side to Liverpool fans. This is a new side. This is something I'm not used to seeing.
We don't need to hate. Right now, it's all love. You know,
they seem to have
submarines and things.
They seem to have grippy shoes this year. You know, they seem to have like the extra long studs in place. They're not slipping this year, pal.
Oh.
It's not happening.
Oh, you can't.
Wow.
You can't help yourself.
Couldn't resist.
And El Mataflow has come in.
Yep.
And in addition to the topic that we were going over this morning, which has a little bit of soccer over there in it.
Okay.
Since we are now in the trade window.
Yep.
And for MLS.
MLS, okay.
MLS.
Yeah, MLS trade window. And this morning, it was started at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Victor Ulloa has made the trek from FC Cincinnati to Inter Miami.
Yep.
And so that seems to have lit the window.
Is this the same Ulloa from Leicester several years ago? Tall guy.
Don't think so.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
I feel like his name was Victor.
It was Ulloa. I know who you were talking about.
Right.
So
I had him on fantasy for a couple of weeks, and
that didn't sound good.
That did not sound. Okay, so for those who didn't hear, it sounded like somebody's car got decompressed on the road in front of us.
Exactly.
They had a massive decompression,
which we can't have.
Cabin pressure.
Yeah, so we didn't see it. You can't use this as witnesses, and so it's not happening.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I saw nothing.
FC Dallas, FC Cincinnati, Inter Miami. That's the Victor Ulloa that got traded today.
Okay.
So. There's news, and the way that things go with MLS and trade windows.
Yes.
We all know that silly season brings out rumors of plenty.
Yep.
And Jorge Santander, El Mataflow, fellow Swansea supporter, who has been with us since the beginning, says Junior Sornosa and all the money in exchange or we riot. Those are my terms. # Tuesday Thoughts, but on a Monday. And I'll bring this back up again in the morning show.
Okay.
Because something called Football News through Radio Transamerica is saying that Corinthians is interested in both Pity Martinez and Ezequiel Barco.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
is this anywhere near credible, or is this just silly season?
It's silly season.
Yeah.
So take this stuff with a grain of salt.
But that said, I believe in the Atlanta United front office. If that was, let's assume this was a real thing. We're going to get top dollar, and we're going to bring in quality replacements because they haven't led us astray yet.
No.
These guys, and I don't think they will. So there's very few front offices I'm very confident in the world. Atlanta United and Liverpool are two of them.
And you're basically talking about something in the neighborhood of $45 million to start the discussion.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's.
What could we do with that?
Right. I'll say this. In my opinion, this is the time of year when the rumor mills go nuts.
Oh, of course.
And we saw today somebody parading around as MLS Soccer.
Oh, there you go.
Managed to bait two verified reporters.
There you go.
Right? I will not name the names to protect the guilty. They caught them retweeting fake news. Right, and I hate the term fake news, but it is what it is.
It was a falsehood.
It was a falsehood that said that Olsen, the manager of DC United, had mutually agreed to walk away from each other.
Yes,
DC United and Olsen were done. Well, they got retweeted twice. They had another one earlier in the day.
Yeah,
and so just keep an eye out. More than just the logo, more than just the name. You have to do some digging on these going forward. I embrace rumors as much as anyone. I despise when people say stop talking about rumors, because it's not over until the signing happens and they're holding a jersey. I don't care. Part of soccer, the fun part of it, is silly season. It is the transfer window. It is buying into the idea that some stupid deal is going to happen. And in MLS, you will see a lot of dumb deals happen and a lot of dumb rumors. Is it possible that Ezequiel Barco and Pity Martinez could be on their way back to South America? Yes, it is possible.
Waiting for the conjunction in your sentence.
But
thank you.
Don't scare them like that.
Yeah. Keep in mind, if you are Atlanta United, and we talked about this whenever we were talking about selling Miguel Almiron, that the business model here is you bring talent in, inexpensive, promising South American talent, develop, market, and then you sell for an insanely high markup. That is the nature of the beast, and that's what we want. But part of that is perception. Part of it is perception, is that if you have a history of developing players and moving them abroad, it makes your team more attractive to these South American players who want to end their careers in Europe. Okay, they come here, we're the next step in the development. We're like AAA, to use a baseball analogy. And then they move on to the majors, which is Europe. That's the idea. The minute you showcase that you're not moving talent to Europe, you become slightly less attractive. Did I say completely unattractive? No, but slightly less attractive. So I don't think that Atlanta United would be giddy to move both players, both DPs, back to South America. I don't think that's the case, which is why I don't put a ton of stock in this move. One player may go. I think it would be probably Barco to Europe. But if a Brazilian team comes and they want to be dumb and spend 45, 50 million on both guys, I'm not going to stop you. Go for it. Business is business. I don't know if it would be the best move for the team, though, outside of... You get that quick transactional dollars that would look great, but from a perception standpoint, you would no longer look like the pipeline to Europe that you were when you sold Miguel Almiron.
I'll throw a wrench in that analogy.
Okay.
There's a brilliant way to counteract that, should that happen. 50 million for both comes in from Corinthians and whoever.
Yep.
What if Atlanta United went to Europe and spent that money on some 21, 22-year-olds that were up and coming there and brought them to Atlanta United? That would make waves. That would be...
But you're talking about taking a kid out of Europe.
No, a promising kid.
A promising,
or two.
Right. A promising
That's the kind
kid
of
or two.
40, 50 million will get you a stud
Right.
at that age.
Right. But the thing is that, again, the transfer process is more than just us overbidding and landing some kid. The kid's got to agree to come.
Sure.
And if you get some kid from PSV Eindhoven, since we have the Dutch connection, I'll just go to the Eredivisie.
There you go.
Yeah, PSV Eindhoven, or Ajax.
Mm-hmm.
Where you have a shot at making the first team. In your head as a player, you're like, I got it. I can do it. I can get there. Which means that you're probably going to see Champions League. Mm-hmm. Are you going to leave that and come to America? I don't think so, because the checks are guaranteed. Your physical safety is not really in question.
You got it good in Holland.
I'm just saying that life in Holland ain't bad. And then, but it's different than when you're talking about an Argentine side where your checks may not be clearing.
Okay.
The clubs may be, that part of the reason why we need to go get the South American talent and we're getting it at such a discount is because you have a club like River Plate, who has won the Copa Libertadores, who has won Argentine Superliga, and they are in dire financial straits. They have to sell.
But isn't that the next level of evolution for MLS? To want to bring in top talent to play here instead of just being the league where, as good of a model as it has been, develop and send them off to somewhere better, quote unquote.
Right.
I don't think we're going to make some waves.
Well, I think we are in the same boat as Eredivisie, where the idea is that you have a team that can compete, a team or two that can compete on the world stage. Like in a Club World Cup. If you take Ajax and you throw them in the Champions League, they were down to 9 guys and they were still putting shots on goal?
Yeah, no conscience.
Yeah, they don't care. They're wide open. But when the last year's Champions League run, when they interviewed those kids and they said, look, can you guys keep it together 1 year? Can you guys hold off? The media was asking. And they said, no, because that's not who we are. We move, someone else takes our space. And they know that because the Eredivisie has accepted who they are in the global soccer ecosystem. Okay. And I'm not saying that MLS could never get there, but as long as there are constraints on spending, as long as there are constraints on, obviously, I'll have to use the profane words on our show, pro-rel. There's no pro rel. As long as those things don't exist, we will be viewed as a feeder league, and it will take something from a player development standpoint in this country to dramatically change for us to shift that paradigm, to go from being, it's going to change only when we do that, because otherwise we are still going to be the Portuguese league. We are still going to be Eredivisie. We're still going to be at that level. I don't think we'll ever be La Liga. Serie A is going to bankrupt itself out of that position. But, we're not going to be the Prem. We're just not that attractive from a foreign investment standpoint.
Sure.
I just don't see that being the case. I think we have to continue to mine Central and South American talent, because the economic situation is so bad down there that it provides us an opportunity to get these kids at a far more discounted rate. If Pity Martinez was a Spanish kid, right, coming up through the Osasuna system,
right,
we're not getting him for $12 million. We're getting him for like $30 or $40 million, just because he has that EU passport, right? But because he's from Argentina, because he's from River Plate, and a club that does have financial constraints, we can come in and be like, guys, what do you think? 14, 15 million, and a promise of a home game if you want it. Yeah, we'll take that. Yep. Which is the same thing why Ezequiel Palacios will be leaving. It's the same reason why they do it to their own league as well. Like where they go and they mine, okay, Independiente, you got this kid, $3 million, send him over, and that's big bucks. So I think that's the difference between our league. I want MLS to grow. I want it to thrive. I want it to be on the level of
maybe we're a few years off.
We're a few years off from thinking about it. But the difference is that this league is growing exponentially in that arena. It's growing like. We're not doing what Serie A did in 200 years. We're doing like what Serie A did in like 25. And it's because there's better fiscal management behind it. And it's because, you can say, well, the Rapids aren't spending. They don't care. The Rapids don't... Real Salt Lake doesn't spend their money. They don't care. Okay, well, talk to me about Norwich and Watford and Aston, the West Ham and Everton and everyone else. There are lots of teams that are saying, hey, look, we're just trying to stay up. Okay, we're just trying to stay in the league. Can we stay in the league? Can that be us? Right? There's teams all over the world that exist in that. So as long as we continue to get teams like LAFC, Atlanta, Seattle, Toronto, and to a certain level in NYCFC, if they decide to start opening the pocketbooks and spending again, I hope we get that. I hope that NFL money that comes in. I hope Charlotte does the same thing if Charlotte comes in. I'm tired of these teams that come in like Nashville and Minnesota and what Sacramento claims they're going to do, which is we have a process that we want to follow and we're not going to be competitive right away. Hell no. I want someone to come in and I want the Charlotte owner to look in the camera and say, Arthur Blank, all 9,000 owners of LAFC, I'm coming for you. Open up, get every DP you can find. I'm buying them.
You don't want to add a new team and admit it and willingly lower the average of the play and the competitiveness just because you want to have your way.
Right.
You should do all that before you start the team. I agree 100% with that. Yeah. You can't come into this and start at the bottom.
No. I want Ric Flair's coming in the league. I want Ric Flair's coming in the league. I want owners to step up and call it out and say, you know what? I want to make this team so stupid successful that when we go to MLS and say, take the caps off, because we have enough owners in this league who can do it.
Well, but you can't go that far.
You're not going to, but I want enough owners where it's a real argument to have. Well, right now we can't have that argument because the Portlands of the world are going to say, we're not doing it.
Yeah, and they never will.
The Red Bulls, we're not doing
Paulson's not going to do that.
Yeah, Dallas, we're not doing it.
No.
But if you get enough owners in this league to come in, hell, even Columbus.
Well, it is the Haslams.
Yeah, and it is the Haslams. They have money. Mm-hmm. And to come in and say, take the caps off, baby. We want to take this thing to a whole new level. Then you replace the Liga MX. Replace the Liga MX.
Nobody raises money like America. The money will come. Once the money starts flowing, then I think we'll see what I was describing as we can go and poach talent from even Europe.
Yep.
That would, that's the MLS that I want to see one day.
The next step for me is poaching Bundesliga 2.
Yeah.
The next step is regularly poaching Championship, English Championship. Mm-hmm.
So you want to bring Josh Sargent home and have the financial wherewithal to do it?
Yes, I want that. I want. No, but
that same kind of player, because you're going to Werder Bremen.
Okay, I got you.
But to call up Milan and say you guys aren't doing anything, Krzysztof Piątek, we want him.
There you go.
That's a move you can make. That's a move you can make because it's a league of financial trouble,
right?
With talent that's presumably a tier above what you have currently, and Piątek would be a monster here.
Oh, absolutely.
And make that kind of call, and then have Milan be like, cool, we can do that, and a friendly in the summer. Done. Let's go.
I mean, this is my crazy theory with all the expansion teams coming in MLS. By the time there's 40 teams,
then you get your MLS 1 and 2.
Then we're in Pro Rel.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're right there.
But you have to figure out the system, and all 40 owners have to want to buy in.
Absolutely.
And the Orlandos of the world are not going to want to do it.
Well, I think the Orlandos of the world would do it before the Atlantas of the world would do it. No disrespect to anyone in Atlanta, but Arthur Blank didn't put this money down and build that stadium.
Well, which means he's going to continue to invest to make sure that doesn't happen.
Exactly. And it's kind of a double-edged sword in that regard, right? But as an Atlanta United supporter from the beginning, founder, all that stuff, I would be willing to risk Atlanta being relegated at some point in order to have that.
Right.
To have that be, because that is, like you said, that's when MLS becomes a real player on the scene.
But I know that the mentions blow up when we do it. But I know there's a whole crew of people who want Pro Rel right away. But if you look at it, Milan was founded in 1899, right? They've had forever to work out their Pro Rel. They've had forever to have teams come and go. And they have teams that came in and don't exist anymore. They don't exist. Teams that won their leagues are gone. And they're never coming back. And the story has been repeated throughout Europe, but you can't do that in a new league. In a new league, you have to start somewhere, and I get that there's smaller teams that provide an exciting product, and I'm not diminishing those teams at all.
It's going to take time.
Yeah.
There's no question.
But we're not there yet.
Yeah, it couldn't happen overnight.
Yeah, and when we do get 40 teams, then we do like MLS 1, MLS 2.
We'll have to do something because it'll be too many.
Yeah.
And we're heading in that direction. I think it's the right
as long as there are people who are spending $200 million for a franchise, we are going in that direction.
Is Don Garber going to say no?
Yeah.
Let's do we got Austin.
Yeah.
We got Nashville. We got Miami. One, maybe a Miami 2 later on. Another one in Miami. Charlotte is on the map at one
front leader in the clubhouse. If you see through
Sacramento.
the grins of Don Garber.
That's five right there that are coming eventually.
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis and Sacramento. We didn't mention those.
St. Louis 6.
So
there's going to be a number of cities. We'll be at 40 within the next 10 years.
And
sooner.
But it's got to be a smart 40, though.
It does have to be a smart 40, but you can't have 48 pluses. There's going to be some C's and D's in there.
All right. Let's run it down real quick. NYCFC, City Football Group.
Yep.
Atlanta United, Arthur Blank. Philadelphia Union, that would be one of your C's.
Okay.
Toronto FC, MLSE. DC United, Jason Levy. Enough said. As the Swansea guy, enough said.
Yeah.
Red Bulls.
Right.
Revolution, Robert Kraft. Chicago Fire, Joe Mansueto, who has bought everybody out and moving to Soldier Field. You know he's going to want to invest. Montreal Impact, Joey Saputo.
Yeah, Bologna.
Austin with Matthew McConaughey.
But they've got to get through Anthony Precourt first. That's the problem. Columbus Crew, the Haslam family with the Cleveland Browns. Orlando City.
They're going to get sold soon.
The guy said he wants out in the next couple of years. So to whom are they going to be bought by? That's the question.
And before Orlando fans get pissed off at me for what I said earlier, I think Orlando is right now MLS's Newcastle. That they suck right now, but with proper investment, that team could be a monster. Monster with that fan base.
Absolutely. And what the city of Orlando has to offer, I mean, all the entertainment, everything you want is there. It's tailor-made for a sports city. It's amazing to me. Besides, I guess, the Magic, who I don't think have been relevant for. They're still there. I don't even know.
They still exist. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I honestly haven't seen an Orlando Magic headline in years.
No, they could dominate though. Orlando City could dominate that market.
Yeah.
So. FC Cincinnati, I think they undersold their idea of a stadium size to begin with. With the stadium in the West End, I think it's too small. I hope it can be expanded from the mid-20s, which is where it is now.
I think the more important thing is big money wants in on MLS.
Right.
They are coming.
Because when the Forbes survey came out and the evaluations were up 30% on Atlanta United, that should be a big shining beacon to anybody who wants in for any kind of level of investment.
That's right.
Like SDH trying to be a part of Defensa y Justicia.
Absolutely.
And making sure that we can be a part of that. But LAFC, I wonder about their owners because there's 9 billion of them. Seattle, we know that the Hanauer and Drew Carey and all that bunch, they're going to do stuff. RSL, they seem to be happy where they are right now.
Yeah.
Minnesota United, that's one that's interesting to me because I think you once again had a stadium that was undersized when you built it. What are you going to do if you continue to be popular and you're stuck at a number? Galaxy, glitz and glamour, we know that the Galaxy will do stuff. Portland Timbers, are they going to be with Merritt Paulson going to want to invest? FC Dallas, they're doing things through the academy. They're not necessarily they're investing in other ways. They're not bringing in big talent. They're going from the ground up. So they're your Ajax.
Right.
San Jose, they look to be investing. Hopefully with Matias Almeida, they're going to want to invest more. Colorado, it's Stan Kroenke. Houston, they need to invest more. Will they want to keep up with the Joneses? Same with Sporting Kansas City. But Sporting is doing it the same way that FC Dallas is, with academy going up. And Vancouver has 4 guys who have a value of $2 billion. They're going to need to invest more. Yeah. Then you've got Austin with Anthony Precourt, Inter Miami with the Moss brothers, Nashville, Sacramento with all of their investment with Burkle and such, and then St. Louis being St. Louis. So
it's inevitable that it's going to happen because even the teams that we question that will they invest, won't they? If they don't invest, there's going to be someone waiting in the wings that be like, well, I'll give you all this money and I'll take it off your hands and I'll do it. Right?
That's right.
What Atlanta United has done for MLS is they've not only raised their own valuation, they've brought up the league as well as this opportunity land of opportunity for billionaires.
It is.
You don't even need to be to play in this one, to play in this field. You could be $100 millionaire, a peasant, and invest in MLS.
Yeah. No, you could, and that's the thing though, is that the investment is real here because there are enough checks and balances that you don't end up with a Burry situation. Right. You're not going to get a Burry situation here in MLS, and the idea is that there is a safety net in place that you can be absolutely horrible and you have an opportunity like Cincy. If Cincy came up in a pro rel situation, Cincy comes up, they do what they do, which is bomb catastrophically, right? There's probably not. It's possible that Cincinnati would go away. Like Cincinnati would just go off into the ether, right? I mean, it's something where right now we have a bit of an incubator taking place, and as more of the billionaires in America see 72,000 at Mercedes-Benz, 65,000 up in Seattle. They see the 3252 losing their minds in Los Angeles.
Right.
Sure, we got to get out of the baseball stadiums in New York, please. And honestly, the Red Bulls just need to lean into being Jersey. Just lean into being Jersey, stop pretending to be New York, get hair metal bands to come in and play at halftime. Bruce Springsteen comes and, does some kind of like charging of the bull or something. I don't know. Find something, but just lean into Jersey, everything you can.
We're Jersey.
It's okay. It's okay. I love New Jersey. I used to live in New Jersey. New Jersey is amazing. Right. Just get the cast of The Sopranos to come out and like wave to everybody. It'd be amazing.
Michael Imperioli comes out.
That's right. It can happen. But, the thing is that this league is growing exponentially, and as long as we keep serious investment happening, we can start getting to a place where then we raid Bundesliga 2, and guys like Julian Gressel are going to be an afterthought when you start doing that, because then you will be getting kids with stupid talent that even teams like Bayern go, We're stock full. We're good.
No disrespect, Julian. Please sign.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. Julian, get your bag. Do what you got to do, Chief. But what I'm saying is there are teams in the upper ends of the Bundesliga who are, they're stock full of talent. And they have kids who are not going to make that first team roster. And maybe that kid wants an opportunity to build their brand in America. All right, great. Then come to MLS. That's the talent I want to see coming in. The Dutch kids who know they're not going to make the first team of Ajax, I have no problem. Let's go. Come play for Frank, and we'll have a good time. But I still want to keep that South American pipeline open and be that conduit to Europe. I have no problem being that. And I think that's how we get a Club World Cup, and I think that's how we get to the day that I've been dreaming of, where you do have an Atlanta United playing against Real Madrid.
Oh yeah.
In the Club World Cup. That would just be amazing. I would love to watch it. Even if they get slaughtered, I'd be losing my mind.
No, that'd be. I mean, for any MLS club, for every supporter, to be in a competitive game that's not a glorified exhibition like the All-Star game is. I mean. Right. That's the dream. Even the CONCACAF Champions League this season was so fun and enthralling to watch that style of play from Liga MX and all these other places. It was incredible. Yeah. So to see that extrapolated onto the global scale, man, oh man.
We're a month away from CONCACAF Champions League and a half hour left in the show this week. I know that we need to hit Mondays with racism.
Yes.
What else is on your thoughts?
That's me right now. What I'm doing, guys, is I'm looking for the Corinthians validation. I'm seeing nothing. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not finding anything with
what are you out?
PT and
I gotta go pick up my wife from the airport.
Oh no, you gotta do that. You can't be late for that. You can't be late picking the wife up.
Okay, so then give the promo before you leave. 9,412 TVs.
That's the number we're going with?
Yeah.
We counted. 9,412 TVs here at the Brewhouse, everybody.
Yes.
It was a packed house for Manchester City, Liverpool. It was a great time. Everybody went nuts. You guys got to come in for one of these busy games and check it out.
Yes.
I'll be here. You can meet me. I will take care of you. Come down to the Brewhouse anytime.
And see, and he's like me, because when the boss comes into Hartsfield, you're back timing your life, much as you and I both do.
Yeah.
To sit there, it's like, okay, to meet her in the cell phone lot when she calls me, I can leave at this time.
Right.
Oh, absolutely back time.
Oh, yeah. You're taking into account the curvature of the earth, the humidity, Mercury in retrograde.
Oh, you got to do all the calculations. Because if you get it just a little bit wrong,
oh my God,
it's over.
No.
It's over.
I've been sitting outside for like 47 seconds. Where have you been? You don't want that. You don't want that. That's not how you want the return trip to happen.
No. So you don't want the boss to get mad, so go. We'll see you back here next Monday.
Yes.
See you back here next Monday.
As always, sir.
As always. Thank you.
Speaking of holding midfielder appreciation, gotta show some love to Fabinho. What a screamer of a goal. And with that, I'm signing off.
With that, peace. He's out.
And he's back next week. As always, talking Liverpool and anything else on your mind. All right, so Mondays with racism.
No, it's sadly becoming a thing.
And instead of Mondays with Reddit, it's Mondays with racism, and this is when the Thunderbolt hits and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
What was on your sheet this week when it came to other things to talk about? I know that we're going to talk about what happened in Ukraine, so go ahead and talk about what happened with Tyson and Dentinho and the stupidity that followed.
All right, so it's Shakhtar Donetsk, so it's in the Ukraine, right? And Dynamo Kyiv is in town, and that's going to be a very, very charged atmosphere, right? And so racist incidents, I'm trying to find the non-profane word.
Why? Why?
Well, because I like us having sponsored. Stupidity, starts getting hurled at Tyson, and he stuck his finger up, and then he booted a ball, right?
Yeah. Okay, so 74th minute. So 74th minute, he hears the racist epithets and chants and all of those stupidity. So that's when he goes middle finger salute, kicks the ball into the stands, and then Dentinho, teammate, Brazilian. So Dentinho had first reported insults to the ref earlier in the game, where you had the announcement, stage 1.
Yes.
So then, further abuse goes Tayson's way. We go to stage 2.
Yep.
Ref halts the game. Players go off the field for 5 minutes.
Yep.
So we're one away from the third step in the protocol, which would have been to abandon the game. They come back out onto the pitch.
Right.
And for the salute and the booting of the ball, Taysom gets a red.
This is
seriously
the most absolute horse crap call. And I don't care how you spin it if you're the official. Oh, well, he should not have issued the one-finger salute. Oh, he should not have kicked the ball into the stands. I don't want to hear any of it because that man left the field crying, like full-on tears crying.
Mm-hmm.
And yet again, we just seem to have this block against going to step 3.
Yeah.
Yet again, this weird block. We can't get to step 3. We can do the PA call.
Yeah.
Okay, shut your traps. Stop the racist BS.
See, you were close.
I was close. So, this is the new game: is how close can get without crossing the line. And then you have step 2, which is we're going to stop the game for 5 minutes, get the players off the field. We mean business. And then, for some reason, John, people can't quite seem to pull the trigger on 3.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like when you're trying to discipline your kid, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna count to 3, and when 3 happens,
right,
you're in real trouble. 1,
yep,
2,
yep,
2.5,
yep, and now it's go ahead.
2 3/4,
2 3/4, yep. Now,
2 7/8.
Nope. Still not doing anything.
You don't get to 3,
no.
Or the kid runs in the other direction and goes to hide in his room,
which is my house on a given day. But the minute you get the 2.5 and not right to 3, you're done, because then the kid knows that you're not going to do anything, and that's what you're seeing here with this failure to go to 3.
Yeah.
The failure to go to step 3 and shut the game down is you're going to have some official who takes the stones to do it.
Yeah. And for me, the whole and Dynamo Kiev,
yeah,
they were sanctioned back in 2015, if I remember correctly. Yeah, here we go. In 2015, Dynamo Kiev was sanctioned by UEFA for a physical attack on African fans during Champions League. And so since then, Say No to Racism has replaced a sponsor on matchday shirts. Then some of the ultras have come out with their own little hand cards that say "like racism" as a way to combat it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so as a way to combat it, that's what they've done at Dynamo Kiev. And so the stupidity of the officials for going 2.5, 2 7/8, and then penalizing the player.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of understand in a really stupid way that because of what he did violated the laws of the game and you have to do that.
Right.
But still, I wish there was a way to add context to the situation and go, dude, this should never have happened.
Right.
And we're sorry, and we should have gone to 3.
It should be a red card. It should be rescinded.
Yeah. And I hope that Shakhtar challenges the red card and gets it rescinded.
Yes, and that would be the big thing. Do they challenge it?
Yeah.
Do they challenge the red card? Because they may not want what necessarily comes, with that sort of.
But then,
challenge.
what does it say to your players, and what does it say to your manager?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Look, I am still on the train of, if you are a player, one of these top flight players, who is sick of being racially abused, come to MLS. Come secure your bag here in the States. Drive a Ferrari at 132 miles an hour through the city of your choice. Everything will be okay. The check's clear. You don't need security to go grocery shopping at Whole Foods. You can hit up Sprouts on a Tuesday afternoon. and you'll be fine. No one's going to mess with you.
Go to Publix.
Go to Publix, and get a pub sub.
Yeah, go get a pub sub.
Yeah, you'll be A-okay. No one's going to mess with you. Just at some point, the players, and better yet, their agents, are going to have to start having real conversations with each other and say, I am no longer putting my players in a position to receive this sort of treatment. I'm not doing it. If it means I have to take a hit on commission to send my player to a league where maybe the money's not that great, so they could have a better match day experience, then maybe that's what needs to happen. And you just have to damn well be Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
Just be Jerry Maguire, right? Just look after the needs of your players. And if the player says, I want to play Champions League, then you damn well better find them a league where the racial abuse is at a minimum or non-existent. Or where they actually do something about it. You know? Like, if I was an agent and my player said, I want to go play in Serie A, okay, I don't think that's a good look for you, man. Like, you're a black guy trying to go to Serie A, I will have to step down as being your agent if that's the case. I'm not going to send you there. You want to go anywhere else in the world? We can have a conversation about it, but I'm not sending you to Serie A. I'm not sending you to Ukraine. You know? And to me, it's just something that the leagues aren't obviously going to do anything about it. So now it's on the players to say, my skills are valuable. My ability as a player is next level, and it's time for me to take control of that and take control of my destiny and get the hell out of this league where this is taking place. And your league will suffer as a result from a talent drain. And
Shakhtar, who has embraced the Spanish model and have brought in South American players, and they have stayed for very long periods of time, become naturalized citizens in some points.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been the fabric of what has made Shakhtar Donetsk one of the team that consistently wins the Ukrainian Premier League and consistently gets you into Champions League and being a pain in the butt in a group of death usually.
Yep.
But it's, I still get to the point about the center ref, 2.5.
Yep. No, somebody's going to have to go to 3. Somebody's going to have to go to 3. Somebody in Serie A is going to need to stop the match. Someone in Ukraine is going to have to stop the match and just it's done. It's over. It's a wrap because you guys can't control yourselves. And I think in some of these leagues, the concern over match fixing is still there. And I know that's the stupidest excuse in the world, but I'm trying to put my head into the officials' minds for a minute as to why they won't do it. I think they are honestly afraid of being accused of being match fixers or, being, up for sale or being cowardly or whatever. I don't care. Just call it a match. Get them out. You know what? The rest of the match is being played behind closed doors. Have a great afternoon. Please be safe on the way home. Don't drink and drive.
Y'all get out.
Yeah, get out.
All right, what else is on your sheet?
What do you want to? I have a closing thing I want to do.
Well,
I'll take the final 10. But.
Well, I know that what I would like to do to have you close is to discuss what 11-11 is all about.
Yeah.
And I know that I was debating whether or not to have you start with it or finish with it. So I will let you finish with it.
Okay.
All right. So we have Van Bronckhorst apparently to NYCFC.
Good.
We have Cardiff City parting ways with Neil Warnock.
Yep.
We have what else did I have on the sheet? What else did I have in mind? What am I missing?
Well, let's look at that for a minute. We talked about the Eredivisie earlier, right? And we talked about this model. And the model that has been so attractive for teams around the world. Everybody says they want to be the Ajax of. I want to be the Ajax of Spain. I want to be the Ajax of France. And what is that model, really? They play beautiful ball, and they develop youth, and they don't spend a ton on transfers, which is any team president's dream. And when you look at MLS, the number of Dutch managers coming in is growing. And I don't think that's by accident. I think it's because you have the ability of, to come in and install a system. You get patience. There's no relegation, so you can have some hiccups and be okay.
See Vanny, Greg.
Yeah, and so there's an opportunity for you here, and to be a game changer, to come in and say, hey, look, you guys got a lot of talent here that's just being really undercoached, underprepared, and it's really doing your country a disservice. Why don't you let us take over and handle this thing the right way? And that's why you have Frank de Boer here in Atlanta. That's why you have the talk of Van Bronckhorst coming in to NYCFC. That's why Cincy went with Dutch leadership as well. Because if you can develop youth players that turn them into first-teamers and then move them for a profit, that's phenomenal business, and that's how it gets done. So I really hope that works. NYCFC, I think, has an idea if they want to play a Guardiolan style, right, a possession-based style.
Right.
And first of all, get out of your baseball stadium. That will help things.
A, B, and C.
Yeah, and then be patient and let these guys work and develop the kids that need to be developed. And some kids will show promise and flame out, but you'll find a few diamonds that will be absolute superstars. And when you do, you bolster them with a couple of quality DP purchases. Not only are you competitive from a trophy winning standpoint, but your business is making fiscal sense, and you're in a position like Atlanta where you're not just in the profit, you're in the serious profit zone.
Right. So Daily Mirror report has Van Bronckhorst in the queue to be with friend Claudio Reyna to be the new coach at NYCFC. But then the question that was raised is, what does this say about Miguel Arteta if Van Bronckhorst is getting the dress rehearsal with NYCFC to come in behind Pep Guardiola, who's under contract through 2022? Mm-hmm. So that's the chain of questioning here with these three guys and this one gig.
It leads me to believe that Pep is leaving earlier than 2022. That they may feel that Arteta is more readily able to take over the team. That beyond that, like, it's going to be, if Van Bronckhorst coaches NYCFC for 2, 3, 4 years, maybe Arteta moves on, and then he's the next guy up. But they have properties all over the world now. So Arteta may
go to Arsenal.
He may go to Arsenal. Who knows? But at the same time, he may be next in line after Pep. And if Pep leaves, that provides you an opportunity just to move someone up and then start the system. Okay, Arteta moves on. Okay, get Van Bronckhorst on the phone. Tell him to get his family packed up. He's going to be in Manchester by Thursday. You need to start that murderer's row of managers. If you look at Barcelona, that's what Barcelona did for a long time. They had a murderer's row that was supplemented with a Tata Martino, and then boop, on to the next guy. And I think they're going to get back to that at some point. But for Man City, you want a continuity of leadership, and that's the best way to do it. You have one guy who's there now, who's under the direct governorship of Pep, and then another guy who you're going to throw into the fire to see what he's made of. So then you can move him next into the queue.
Cardiff City has sent Neil Warnock packing, one win in their last 6, sitting 14th in the championship table. Did you see the end of the Frankfurt-Freiburg match?
Where the manager got steamrolled?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the team immediately stood up for the manager and went after the guy.
It says a lot.
So props to Freiburg for going after the Frankfurt captain and chasing after that. Okay, 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
This is November 11th, and I know that a lot of folks over the last weekend plus, if you've been watching, say, the Premier League, about Remembrance Day, and you get your home match either last weekend or this past weekend, and you have moments where you remember. Mm-hmm. It's a story that I tell, and I say it this time every year, and I apologize if folks have heard it before, so I'll try and truncate it a little bit. My grandfather was Army Air Corps, OSS, Battle of Britain, North Africa, Arnold Engineering Development Center. He was a part of the wind tunnels up in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Was a guy who wanted to go back to Korea, But he was a bird colonel who spoke his mind, youngest ever at the time to become bird colonel. But because he was a guy who spoke his mind, that's where he always stayed.
Right.
And he was in his 40s at the time of the Korean War, and they were like, no, you're too old. You can't go. He wanted to go to Vietnam in the 60s. But once again, you're talking about someone who was in his 50s at the time. No, you're too old to go. He would always tell us the stories about the fun times that he had. There was one where he was in North Africa with a buddy.
Yep.
He knew Jimmy Doolittle. He thought Ike was very weak as a general. And he would always say that the story where he was in North Africa, he and his buddy were there, so bird colonel, fellow colonels, they go up to the dock and they had released all the Jeeps. The Jeeps had just come off the cargo ship, lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of Jeeps. Buck Private, kid right out of high school, he's standing there and he yells down the line. Buck Private's probably a good 25, 30 yards away. Hey, this is my Jeep. So what's the Buck Private going to do?
Yes, sir.
Yes, pretty much. And so he gets his Jeep, and his buddy, who's also a bird colonel, says, hey, and this is my Jeep. And so basically, my grandfather and his buddy are riding these two Jeeps fresh off the dock around North Africa until they run out of gas.
Yes.
When he was involved with Britain and what the Nazis were doing with their blitzkrieg rounds.
Yep.
When he was going into Britain, the story that he would always say was that the Germans were jamming the frequencies of the Allies.
Yep.
And the Germans would welcome the battalions and the planes and the squadrons by name and number. And it would always end by saying, we will be seeing you soon.
Right.
That was the conversations that he would have with us. He would not talk about anything else when it came to his time in the military.
Yep.
And no matter how many times we wanted to get him on tape to talk about these kinds of things, he would only use those stories as his examples. These days, for me, full disclosure, I donate to the Till Valhalla Project because of veterans and suicide.
Yep.
No one should ever be that alone. So for me, it's something with the history that I have in my family with my grandfather. Can I touch anything that you have done as a member of the military? Not by any stretch of the imagination. So I will be one of the first people who will say thank you for what you have done and what you are doing, because you are an advocate for not just yourself, but those like you, those who don't have a voice, those who don't know how to express what they're doing. So don't stop being that voice that you are and that you have been for those close to you, for those whom you've never touched, but for those who are in similar situations who might be listening, might be watching, might trying to be understanding and trying to figure out what's going on a daily basis.
Yep.
So I will just say, in having been around it, thank you for doing your part, and thank you for any veteran who is listening and will listen tomorrow or the archive or what have you. I yield the balance of my time. The rest of the show is yours.
Well, thank you, sir. Veterans Day is always an interesting day for me personally. If you don't want to hear any of this, you just want to leave it to the soccer stuff, now's the time. Just hit the, and close on out. But if you want to hear it, I joined the Marines in 2001. It was March, so it was pre-September 11th, and I was one of those kids who joined up because I needed money for college, and I was bored, and I needed to see the world, and the Marines gave me an opportunity to do that. And then September 11th happened, and all of a sudden we realized that, well, the world sort of shifted dramatically in a mere couple of hours.
Stuff just got real.
It just got real. And so, and I was an air defense gunner too, so it got very, very real. Iraq didn't have very many airplanes, so they turned us into field MPs, and my job was to go digging through cars and looking for bombs. If you ever see the movie Hurt Locker, it's like that, but without the special, bomb gear that they had. we were in the Anbar province. It was 2004. It was the Wild West. It was when they were using IEDs and, the personal, like the VBIEDs, the vehicle-borne, and then the individuals who would actually wear the bomb vest and whatnot. And it was our job to go and search them before they came on base to make sure that they didn't bring anything to cause mass casualties. And this will be drawn out a little bit, but I promise there's a point to it. And so the first few days you're doing a job like that, you go out with the bomb dog, and the bomb dog handler says, well, you guys actually got to go out first. Bomb dog's expensive to train, and so you guys got to go first. And so we're like, okay. And then in the back of your head, you're like, well, today's the day I'm going to die. And you go, and you think about it like very seriously, like, all right, the sky's blue, the humidity's at 0%, it's 114 degrees, and I'm going to die. And you walk out and you go past some cars and everything looks safe, and then they bring the bomb dog out, and the bomb dog sits on about 3 of the cars you walk past. And then you get this very metallic taste in your mouth, your guts turn to glass, and it's about like that for the first month or so. And then after that, you sort of resign yourself to thinking, okay, today's the day I'm going to die. And then finally you get in this Viking mentality of, today is a good day to die. They had tacos in the chow hall. It's a great day to die. And then the problem is, you start believing that you're very brave, and then you see a couple of things that make you realize that you aren't. And we had a very terrible incident with a car bomb that I will spare you all the details of, but we saw when the election happened, and we saw Iraqi nationals going to vote for the first time in God knows how long. And we had body armor and 50 cals and M16s and grenades and trucks and everything else, and all they had were the clothes on their backs and sandals. If anything happened, they were unprotected. I mean, outside of us, a lot of help that would have been. Then you realize, okay, that's brave. And then I remember the dad who walked 5 miles with his daughter because she had a heart condition through contested territory to bring his daughter in to get help. And our base physicians treated her. And toward the evening, it was when it was most dangerous, because that's when the Mujahideen, who were essentially infant ISIS, would come out. And they released the daughter later in the afternoon, and our day was done, and we were getting ready for a shift change, and you see the dad come out to the gate with the daughter, and he looks at the 5 miles, and it's like something out of Mad Max, right? Where you have the base, 5 miles of a road, and then you have sort of a ridge with a big split in it. And the split was where the road went through to the little town of Baghdadi, which is along the Euphrates River. And the dad turned around and looked at us. And I remember the look of terror on his face, because you could see him sort of doing the calculus of how long it was going to take to walk 5 miles with a child. And the girl could not have been more than 5 or 6 years old. And he knew if they got caught, it was it. They were done. And so we're standing around, and we haven't been relieved, so we can't leave our post. And we had some guys in a truck. And this was the biggest collection of nerds and weirdos you've ever met in your life. Their call sign was Cobra, like G.I. Joe. Yeah. And whenever we called them up, they would go, Cobra! And they would ramp you. It was the biggest collection of weirdos. And they were scrawny. They didn't look like your stereotypical Marines at all. They were outcasts in every sense imaginable. And you saw them all look to this one sergeant. And I don't know if he wants the story told, and I don't know what the statute of limitations is for commandeering a government vehicle, so I'm not going to use his name. But you saw him kind of look at the ground for a minute, bite his lower lip, and goes, I'll take her. And we're all kind of like, dude, once it gets dark, no one goes out. People with armored vehicles don't go out. You're in an open back Humvee with a 50 cal, man. What are you doing? He's like, I'm going to take him. And then it was like a scene from that point out of a movie. The rest of the Marines in his truck go, yep, me too. And they jump in. And another sergeant walks up and says, if you boys get caught out there, no one's coming for you. You are essentially stealing a government vehicle, which we're going to overlook, and you're on your own, and you're going to have to fight your way out. And they said, well, it's been a good run. And they put the dad in the truck, they put the little girl at the base of the 50 cal, and off they drive. And I watched them drive 5 miles with this dust trail coming behind them. And I remember thinking, my God, they're not going to make it. And then we wait, and sure enough, they turn around and they come back. And they've successfully dropped the dad and daughter off at a safe spot. And that still to this day is the bravest thing I've ever witnessed in my life. Because they knew it was all bad. Like, very few opportunities for it to turn out good. There was no military presence in the town. We had known hostile activities. We got rocketed from that town God knows how many times. If you've never had rockets explode within like 30 to 40 yards of you, it's a unique religious experience that I hope none of you ever get to live through. But it's a very interesting thing. And I tell you this stuff because today I received a DM from someone who said, "Thank you for your service. You guys are the reason we're free." And I have to push back on that, and I have to say no. It's not the case. It's a part of it, but it's not the whole picture. And I go back to and I'm going to get really weird here, John. It's the 80s movie Conan. Remember so Conan, for those of you who don't know, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's in his prime, Mr. Universe. You know, he looks like a Greek god. Anyway, at the beginning of the movie, young Conan is sitting with his dad on this mountaintop, and his dad tells him about their religious beliefs and goes into the riddle of steel. And he says, men lie, women lie, animals will betray you. He holds up the sword to Conan and he says, this you can trust. So Conan grows up believing that the sword is the way, right? That is the riddle of steel. He meets the villain, Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones, and one of his best acting performances, really, in what is by and large a B movie. It's incredible. And he says, steel is not strong, flesh is stronger. For what is steel, but not for the hand that wields it. And then at the end of the movie, Conan comes to the realization that it's neither the steel nor the flesh, it's the will that is the riddle of steel. The riddle of steel, the steel is strong because of and the flesh are strong because of the will. We, the military, we may be the steel, but we're nothing without the flesh, and we're nothing without the will. And the will comes from the people. And so when people say anything about us, we may put ourselves in a position to defend freedom, but you all listening at home, you guys keep freedom. And people have offered to buy veterans food and beer, and by God, if I ever get offered any of that, I'm not turning you down for it. I'm just letting you know. But I'm cashing. When somebody says, I'll do anything for the veterans, I'm cashing it in. Right now, I'm cashing it in. I'm calling you out. If you want to say thank you to a veteran, do yourself a favor. If you live in the state of Georgia, take 3 minutes and check and see if you're registered to vote. Just find out. It takes 3 minutes. Google it. Follow the process. See if you're registered to vote. I don't care who you vote for. I need you to exercise your will. I need you to be a part of the process. Be a part of the decision making. You can do it. And I need you to be a part of it. And the veterans need you to be a part of it. And then secondly, look at an organization, one that I personally have benefited from. They have the Emory Veterans Program here in Atlanta. Dr. Wifey works there, and she treats veterans every day. So I thank her. The good doctors there. Home base up in Boston. This is all part of the Warrior Care Network. And every day they are treating veterans with PTSD, TBI, military sexual trauma, name it, and they're treating it. Veterans, if you're out there and you're listening, we constantly go through life in the military being able to call for backup. You go anywhere, John, where's your battle buddy? You go to the bathroom, where's your battle buddy? You don't even go pee and poop alone. You got to have somebody with you. When we get in trouble, in hostile situations, we call for backup. We call for close air support. We call for quick reaction force. But for some damn reason, John, when we get home, we think we can do it on our own. And I don't understand it, because for years we were taught you always work with someone else. If you're a veteran out there and you're thinking you can handle PTSD alone, stop and call in backup. And you reach out to Emory Veterans Program here in Atlanta or home base. They will fly you for free. They will feed you for free. They will provide notes for your employers stating that you are getting top flight medical care, if you want to do that, or you don't have to. But damn it all, call for backup. And if you are out there and you're doing, during this little rant of mine, you're checking to see if you're registering to vote, and you are looking at organizations like this or Till Valhalla, and you're helping any way you can, thank you. All right? Thank you. Because my grandfather had a different experience coming back from Vietnam. And the experience that we get coming back is radically different. And that's because of you. But none of this works without the will. The riddle of steel of our country is the will. That's how it goes. And we need you to be a part of the process. So be a part of it. Have your voice heard. Know that we appreciate it. And with that, I yield the balance of the time back to you, the listener. And thank you for supporting us in every which way possible. I got PTSD treatment. I went and got off my butt, and I got on a plane because I woke up one day and I watched a movie trailer. And if a future employer hears this and decides that I'm not going to be employment material for them, then, I mean, deal with it. I was sitting at home. My wife is a PhD treating veterans. And I was still like, I'm going to do it on my own. Like a numpty. Sat there and said it. And then I was sitting at home one day, John, and a movie trailer came on that involved it was Finding Christopher Robin. It's the story of the guy who wrote the Winnie the Pooh books. He was a World War I vet, and he would walk with his son through the woods, and would have these horrible flashbacks. And he came up with Winnie the Pooh to help put those at ease. And I couldn't help it. I sat at home and I just busted out crying. I didn't stop crying for like 2 hours, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And it wasn't until I got to Boston and went through this process and figured out what the root was. And it goes back to that damn car bomb in Iraq and the situation that came out, the fallout from it. And I had buried it so deeply that no amount of scrutiny could have found it, no amount of self-reflection alone, staring at a lake or hunting in a tree could have found it and pulled it up, meditating, anything. It took a professional to work with me to get it done, and now my life is amazing. It's radically different. It's exceptionally improved, and you can have it too. And that's what I want for you. Veterans, I'm talking to you right now. If you need it, get it. My DMs are open, and I get a lot of a lot of solicitations from scantily clad women who I believe to be of Eastern European or Russian origin, who try to reach out to me on a regular basis. I'm married, so stay away. But my DMs are open. Find me, talk to me. I will point you in the direction. I will send you links. I don't care. But get the help if you need it. And with that, I give back the time. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your support.
That's another round of soccer over there. Soccer down here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 11. For Nick, for Jason, please feel better. Rest your pipes, because we are in the middle of busy times. Play it safe, everybody, lest we forget.